Hello everyone and welcome to our monthly AMA with Shping. So today we have our brand CMO at Shping and Gennady Volchik, who is our CEO at Shping, and we're gonna talk about all of the updates that we've got for this month at Shping, as well as some of the industry trends and the news. So we've got a couple of community questions that I would love to start with. And the first question is, were there any major brands partnership recently? And this question is actually super timely. Brand, could you give us an update here?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Helena, and hello, everyone. Look, yeah, really exciting update on the brand front. The team have been working fairly tirelessly on this one, and it's a very exciting update, bringing on board what we can probably say is one of the world's biggest consumer packaged goods brands, probably the biggest, Coca-Cola. So very exciting update from the team. As I said, it's been a huge effort. The sales team have been collaborating globally with the Coca-Cola organization, and it's been a really great partnership that we're very excited to bring on board in really what is probably going to be the next week or two. We should be live on the platform. So Coca-Cola, not just bringing their famous household name Coca-Cola brand, but also the likes of Sprite and Sprite Plus, the Coke Zero, Classic, and Raspberry products, along with Powerade, Kirks, and Fanta as well. So, huge household names, but, really just lots of products and lots of great content coming to the platform. That's very exciting for our user base, as well as obviously our organization. So we're really excited to see, where this goes. But, it's a big commitment to the team on the effort there.
Loudest update. Actually, I've heard a lot of feedback in the community chats that the big brands partnerships are super important, and Coca-Cola is an important brand in our brands partnership section. So, Brand, can you maybe give a bit more perspective on what's the importance of such the partnership for Shping? What does it mean for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you're right. I mean, the big brands certainly bring some level of, credibility to us as an organization, and obviously a high level of engagement with our audience, which is great too. But probably more importantly is it really starts to sort of showcase and validate the model that we have. Looking at the trust that these big brands are putting in us with their brand. Really starts to showcase where we're at as in terms of an organization. But bringing new brands on board is great, and that certainly helps to sort of showcase the model and how that works. But what is also probably more exciting is seeing our existing brands sort of begin to leverage their position with us and their investment with us. So another exciting update there is Asahi Beverages and Pepsi Max. We announced the partnership a little while ago now, and Pepsi Max has been live on the platform for quite some time. But we have also just recently onboarded a range of new brands from Asahi as well. And the exciting thing here is that, in Australia, Asahi has somewhat of a complicated structure with the brands that they own in terms of their relationship with licensing agreements and PepsiCo. So, to this point, we've been working with the Asahi and PepsiCo, sort of brand or Pepsi Max brand, but now they're expanding that to other PepsiCo brands, which is a really great sign of trust in our platform. So we've got Solo, Sunkist, Mountain Dew coming on board. But then also what's exciting is the fully owned Asahi Beverages brand Schweppes, which is actually Asahi Beverages flagship brand as an organization in Australia, has come on board to the platform as well. So that's a really good sign for us to see that these big organizations and these big brands are really getting value out of what we do, and willing to continue their partnerships with us. So yeah, really exciting on the brand front for sure.
I'm super excited too, and I just want to remind to all of the listeners of RMA today that we are going to be announcing all of these updates as well as the other product updates on our social media as usual. So make sure that you're subscribed to our Twitter, join our Telegram chat, you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever social media that you use, because we are everywhere where our community is. We actually have another question from the community for today. Gennady, could you pick up on this? So the question is, how big is the Australian market for Shping?
Yes, first of all, I would like to say happy Friday to our great community. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. And yeah, it's a great question. I think we've talked about it in some of our previous AMAs. So Australia, based on our modeling, it will represent 1% of the global market. So obviously, Shping is relevant to pretty much any market where consumers buying branded products, which pretty much everywhere, and where brands want to be able to engage with their audience to improve their customer service, to improve their customer experience. So currently we are focusing on Australian market, and in Australia we are still at the very early stage of our journey. So we have a huge sort of road ahead of us in terms of the growth projection in the Australian market. But in terms of the sort of a bigger picture, where we want to get in a few years' time, Australia would be representing about 1% of the global market for us.
Thank you for the answer here. Actually, while I've been preparing our usual monthly highlight, I've noticed that we have a very great achievement in terms of the product and app development. Since our Shping app is in the top 5,000 apps on the App Store. Gennady, could you give an intro to this update?
Certainly. So for any app, one of the metrics which everyone is closely monitoring, which sort of indicates the how well they are perceived, how well it serves its purpose, is the retention rate. Meaning that, let's say, if you have 1,000 people who've downloaded the app, how many of those people will use the app in 7 days, in 30 days, in 90 days, and beyond? So that's probably the most crucial metrics in any app platforms. And obviously, we're not exclusive. We're also monitoring the retention rate very closely. And out of 1.5 million apps in Google Play Store, for example, we are, in terms of our retention, which have improved a great deal in the last 12 months. We're still not where we want it to be, but we've done a tremendous improvement from where we were originally. So we are in the top 5,000. While 5,000 looks like a very big number, when it's out of 1.5 million, it's somewhere up there. But we have a lot of plans already in place for the implementation to get ourselves to the next bracket up, which is a big jump. It's into top 100 apps in Australia. So that's where we want to get in the near future. But I think 5,000 milestone is a huge achievement. And I think it's kudos to everyone, the developers, the marketing, and pretty much everyone in our company wearing a number of hats. So you could say everyone is a product owner, everyone is a marketeer, everyone is in the sales. So it's a very sort of joint effort that the team has put into the project.
Thank you so much. I'm super happy about this milestone, and obviously that's super important because that's how we can see that in Australia the app has a big support from the community, and users are actually returning to use all of the features. So here I just like to remind that in the app we already have all of the features enabled, including the reviews, including the receipt scanning and everything. So you can, if you're based in Australia, make sure to check out the app and use all of the benefits that the app already is offering to the users.
Awesome. Well, I think that's probably a good point for another discussion that is a bit of a hot topic at the moment. Is all this sort of development in AI and how that kind of plays out in the broader tech industry and consumer products in particular. So from my perspective, I've been excited about some of the new tools that I've been getting my hands into lately. Mid-Journey and some of the sort of graphical interface there is exciting from a marketing perspective. What we can do and how we can really supercharge our output of content and things like that. But Gennady, I'm interested to know from your perspective, what does Shping do to really leverage AI in our platform and outside of obviously the trends of ChatGPT and the explosion there. I know that Shping has been quite invested in this technology for a while. So what are we doing in that space? Can you share?
Certainly. Look, I think we sort of uniquely positioned where AI fits pretty well in a number of areas for us. One of the big part of Shping operation of Shping ecosystem is data integrity, to make sure that we get the data, enrich the data in relation to products, being able to process the flow of data that comes from a number of different sources, app users, brands. So we are using AI to help us to validate and make decisions on the accuracy of data. So to give you a good example, receipts. So we get thousands of receipts every day from consumers who are uploading those receipts. So one big thing for us is to ensure that we can recognize the receipt. We can specify, say that receipt is from that particular store. It has particular products on it. We want to be able to process all the rewards in relation to those products, and then enrich our analytics for the brands to see where those products being sold, so they can see where the customers are and so on. But we also faced with a challenge of make sure that the receipts are genuine. So we want to make sure that the same receipt is not uploaded twice, or if someone have tampered with the receipt, that we can detect that there was a receipt tampering. And as you can imagine, working with thousands and thousands of receipts, that gives us a sort of million data points to analyze. It's something that cannot be done manually. And we leveraging AI to get better recognition of different anomalies, picking them up and improving the backend of our platform. Another interesting area which we are working on, and at this stage is more of the experimentation stage, is to enable brands to communicate to their consumers or provide content in relation to their product to their consumers, which is most relevant to a consumer. So for example, if you're the brand owner and you have a paragraph explaining what your product's history is, each brand has own unique history that they want their consumers to know about. But that paragraph can be probably communicated in different way to different consumers, depending on consumers' age, gender, which is the basic things. But then we can take into account a lot of the analytics we have about the consumer, where they shop, how frequently they buy a particular product, what else they buy. Are they more conscious-driven consumer, those who buy products with recycling packaging or sustainable, renewable ingredients, and so on. So and on the fly, we can use AI to restructure that particular sentence to make it more relevant and more appealing to individual, which is a big part of the Web3, where all of the exchange or between two parties is customized. It's personalized. It's not the same one size fits all, where you're able to provide information which is most relevant to the consumer at the most relevant time to create value for them, but at the same time create value for the party that want to communicate this information to the consumer, to ensure that they aware of this information, that they can take this information into account when they're making a purchase decision. So a lot of different areas where AI, and I'm sure there will be others that we can't even think of, that where we may be able to leverage AI technology.
Thank you so much for the intro here. I'm super happy to be here on the Shping AMA of the May month, and I just want to remind to all of the listeners that we run monthly AMAs, so we'll meet all of you in months at the end of June. And today we wish everyone happy weekend, happy Friday, and we hope that you spend a calm weekend, and on Monday you return to Shping Telegram, Twitter, and all of the social media to check what are the new updates. Thank you, Gennady. Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thank you.
Helena.
Thanks.